Hello, Super League fans around the world. It is that time again. Christmas may be over, but like the famous song says, snow has been falling all around us today. But that's not the only thing that is falling near me today. I also have the new Tinker Man, gone from Super League fan to Super League manager, Mr. Ste Wright of Dudley Hill. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. We were just discussing Christmas off air and the rewriting history that we're both part of at the moment. So there's been a lot of things going on at both our homes, but yeah, let's talk Dudley Hill and let's talk Super League. You're currently sitting 12th. You've got the joint fewest amount of goals in the division. Is that an area of concern for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, definitely. Obviously, it showed why we've done what we've done. I think a lot of it as well stems from his own form. I scored 2 against Dragons at home, and I think apart from that, I've only got 1 other goal at home. My goals away from home have been reasonably acceptable. It's the home goals going hand in hand with a crap home form that's really hindered me so far.
On the subject of form, you currently sit 13th in the form table. Despite that, Edgar Davids is doing quite well in terms of being quite high up the average ratings. He's got 7.9 at the moment. Ronaldo, he's got 5 of your goals already this season. In Roberto Carlos, you've got 4 assists. So there are certain players doing their bit. Is it a case of the others reaching up to that level, or is it these sort of bigger name players that are going to have to carry you forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they are them 3. Have been my best players so far this year. Again, I knew I were taking a risk. Obviously, I think letting Palermo go and getting Ronaldo early on from Spartak. But when I were getting Marcelo Gallardo in at the same time, a player I highly rate on the game. He hasn't had much game time for me as yet, but he's going to feature quite heavily going forward. Yeah, I think I'm more pleased with Ronaldo than anyone else, if I'm honest, because we all know what he can be or can't be. I think, did you have him last season, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, he's played for us. I think he played for the old Halls as well. He's not really hit any sort of numbers for anybody from memory.
No, which obviously I were aware of from watching most of the previous season to last season without chatting, etc. It was more catching up or anything. But then, and obviously last season I saw that he hadn't done too much. But yeah, he's doing all right at the minute. So it's just obviously the one I've talked about the most. It's Toy. I've been tempted at times to maybe put him out on market, but maybe it's just, again, I'm going to see how he goes this season and see where he finishes up come ending, if he does have any effect on us at all.
A discussion point in some of the other one of these one-on-ones came from the conversation I had with Scott. And I just want to liken the situation. Is Totti your Zidane?
Oh, without doubt. Without doubt. To be fair, I think he's averaging 7, which is slightly better than Zidane has done in previous incarnations. I think he's doing a little bit better for Scott this time than I've seen before as well. But yeah, it's a case of getting that position right for him, where I'm not asking for 8s and 9s all time out of him, but a nice 7.4, 7.5 average over the season just means he's contributing and helping a long way.
I alluded to it in the introduction, and it explains the picture I'm using today. The recurring theme in some of the conversations when the other managers have had a chance to discuss Dudley is they've referred to you as a bit of a tinker man. I know that's something you've commented on through the club's official Twitter. Is that fair, and is it something that you're going to look to continue, or is it something you're going to look to change moving into the second half of the season?
Yeah, I'm not going to carry on with it. I think a lot of what the guys were saying were right in terms of getting my best players in the best positions. I think what I've what I did with my business pre-season, and it probably has hindered me a bit. I like players with a bit of versatility, which if you've got too many players with too much versatility, it sort of leads you to trying them in every different position to try and get them. So, and I think I need to knock it on the head. I am going to go back to a similar formation to when I were in decent form at the start of the season. Do I attempt one last try of a formation, which again, I can't go off any home saves, but I've been testing one, which is doing all right again. So, or do I just go tried and tested, especially Super League tried and tested, back to what were working for me at start, and then just see where, just settle it for 3 or 4 games and see if I can get on a bit of a run. I think that's probably going to be the best way to go.
Last time out during the festive fixtures that Ryan put on, you did suffer a 2-0 defeat to Fulchester. Was there any positives you could take from that game?
Second half performance, I don't think there's been a game at all this season so far where we've been dominated front to back. We've been better side in at least one half of every game, which does give me positives that the team's good enough to get out of it. And I certainly think it's good enough to get out of it. It's about me getting the right out of them to be able to do it. But yeah, like I said, I've had massive. That's why I've not been getting down on it. If I'd been not creating any chances or anything constantly, I'd probably worry about it. But as we sat at the minute, we're only 4 points off Spartak in 6. So 15 games to go. There's still plenty to play for. So it's not worrying me as yet.
Next up, you're against a fellow newbie, a fellow debutant in Locomotive Boston. I know you wouldn't have selected your team or anything yet, but leading into some of the things you've already discussed, what are you looking for from that game other than the obvious 3 points?
A performance. I want to be able to create a few chances. I think if I can carry on creating a few chances, especially against Greaves, the way he sets his team up, I think it shows that there's plenty there in attack to finally get me goals. I think I do know my formation and my team in my head as is. One player going to come back in, Francisco Arca, who he's had a bit of a rough do. To be fair, he's come in and had a couple of really solid games for me, and I haven't put him back in. He's not a player not many people knew, but he is one that I've signed quite a few times at home and quite like him. So yeah, I think I'm probably wasting Carlos a little bit too far up and then so if I pull him back and bring Arca back, I think it'll give us a good base. So yeah, just be solid, and if I can create chances against him, it'll show that we're playing all right, considering not many teams have created too much against him.
Let's discuss the transfer window and the deals you've already done. If you want to run us through the confirmed transfers at Dudley, and then maybe just some of the reasons that you've went for those deals in particular.
Well, obviously Ian came to me last minute, as we all know what happened with a bit of an offer. I found it very difficult to turn down. At the end of the day, I was struggling for goals massively, and to bring 2 players in, one who, to be fair, he's had a reasonable season already so far, played every game for Ian and Alex, and Crespo, if you can get him right, he's I think Boyce alluded to it in. He said on home saves, you get him in your side, and you're generally successful, even though you might not get the amount of goals out of him that you would out of some of the other strikers. But yeah, he solided my midfield area up. Obviously, I needed somebody who could properly play on left side, with letting Robin go, and I like Alex in centre or on left. So yeah, that's where we're at a minute. I mean, you may have slightly seen yourself in chat as well. We're discussing swapping a reserve player with somebody. At this present time, I think the person I want in, he covers a couple of positions. And I think at the start of the game, I don't really go off the scout. I never even used it until coming into Super League just to have a look. But he's actually one of the top sort of defenders on stroke centre defensive midfielder on game at the start of the game. So that may be in pipeline. We'll see if that comes to fruition. But yeah, I think as of it is now, I'm pretty happy with what I've got in the 24.
Let's give you the opportunity to take attention away from Dudley then and start piling some some pressure on some rivals. I think it's only fair. What I've been trying to do is start with the teams in closest proximity to you in the league with the other managers. So we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Northern Burn, what have you made of them?
I think Ian's had an extremely rough ride. I'm not buying into this. There seems to be a bit of a tide turning against him from people saying he's been unlucky, etc. to he's been proven not to get results, etc. Now we're better teams, better players. But I think to get 4 or 5 draws out of your first 5 or 6 games, I think it were a loss on 4 draws, a loss on 5 draws in his first 5 or 6. I think a lot of the game, I know a lot of it's, no, there's no AI involved, but the game has still got its own little engines and own little little tweaks, that he'll throw in. I genuinely think, I think he will start. I think he's got his result he needed now. I do genuinely think he'll go and win a couple of games. And again, I think Ryan was showing about Robin. I let him go. He had 1 goal, no assists in 9 games. And he's then got a goal in his first appearance for Ian. So shows that hopefully with what he's done, brought in, hopefully it'll work for him and he can pull away from it.
Just below you in the table currently are Astor. What are you making of Alf's team? Because for the first time in memory, that there seems to be some constant criticism now. It's not just the odd person making a remark and Alf goes and proves them wrong kind of thing. They are actually staying down there at the moment and not getting a consistent run of form.
Yeah, I think personally, I think it's going to be difficult for him to get out of it. I think a couple of other guys have said his transfer dealings have been a little bit hard on him. I think it was fantastic. He was getting Zamorano absolutely firing. I think he was averaging 8.33 after his first 3 or 4 games. But yeah, I think he's going to struggle. I think being so rigid with this narrow formation, I know you're going about tinkering this, that and other, but I think even if you are set on a set formation, you do need to have a little bit of a plan B that maybe changes up quite a bit, whereas Al's plan B might change from one centre mid to 3 AMCs to 2 centre mids to up top and 1 AMC. So it's all very much of a muchness even when he does change it.
We now go to the team directly above you and Dragons. Are they where you expect them to be, or can you see them, again, they seem to have this inconsistent form, but they are capable of beating anybody. Can you see them rising up the table?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this goes, I think what we'll be talking, I think it goes back to what you were saying about Scott, where yeah, you said everybody's capable of getting up, but there's only 6 places available. But I think that goes back to how strong the squads right across the board are. So, I mean, obviously, I think the only thing they're slightly lacking is they haven't got Batty Stewart firing yet. And I think there's a lot of attacking flair in that team, massively. And it's got big opportunity to score a lot of goals. I mean, obviously, great result from against Aggies last time out. And obviously, Jamie's been around long enough. Will Woodder and Duggan certainly know what they're doing on game. And if they can get to a point where instead of their winner stays on mentality, this, that and other, which I totally get from listening to his interview, have a bit of fun with it. He was stressing himself out over it at times. So he's trying to make it a bit more fun this time and relaxed about it. Which I think you need to do. I think especially it's easier to do with people like him, people like Kieran, when they've been in for so long and being able to change it up. But yeah, they've got enough about them to start firing up. And I think again, off back of that result against Aggies, it could be start of a good run for them.
Another team who had a good result last time out, and another team I know you have a lot of respect for, Ledisford, next up.
Yeah, I think he obviously, with the formation he was doing, it sort of, I think it teams on the up a little bit, and then maybe got a bit too settled with it. Obviously changed everything up. We got a cracking result. I genuinely think he's in a bit of a false position at the minute, if I'm honest. Looking at his team, he just, again, I think it's, apart from Joe Madeira and David Collins, I think it's a common denominator with everybody is getting a striker firing. And once that happens, I think everybody's capable of stringing quite a lot of runs, quite a lot of wins together. So I think once he gets that creativity going again, I think should definitely be piling his way up the league.
What can be difficult in all walks of life is when such a big character needs to be replaced. It's difficult to fill the mantle, so to speak. But someone who's shown expertly how to do that, in my opinion, is Jens at Hull's Vikings, who's replaced Thiago, who was a massive character, and he's come straight in and he's just as big a character. What have you made to his debut season so far?
Yeah, I think he's been a great addition. I mean, even if I was still sat watching, I'd have the same opinion. He's coming. He's got right among it. And top and bottom is he's getting performances out of, one, a formation that you never really see, and two, he's getting performances out of two, in words of Macca, probably myths the Super League, in Sigalko and Van Nistelrooy. He gets them firing, and I think you're massively onto a winner. I think he's got potential, definitely. I think his result, I think it was not last time out, time before, where he didn't really change his formation, but a few players had to move about, with Cordoba moving in, etc. Sort of unsettled it a little bit. But once he gets back to a settle back four with how he's playing, I think definitely he's still going to be in and about challenging to be up there. So he's certainly got the players on paper to do it.
Next up is certainly a manager who knows how to get the job done. Churchtown, a team who a lot of people don't really know what to make of.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, last season I think were he top scorer in league goals. I think they were. Showed he obviously got plenty in his armour to get teams firing. I think. Like I was saying with Jamie, I think the way he's gone about getting players he hadn't had before, I'll be totally honest, it fell massively in my favour, did that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had Edgar Davids without a shadow of a doubt, after making a bit of a daft decision at the start of it. We're not really knowing the level of what Roy Keane is and doing. So, yeah, I felt massively lucky with the way Kieran's gone about it myself. Again, but Tom Madeira is absolutely firing at the minute. I think once he gets back on goal trail, and obviously now he's settled back from trying with the 3-up, etc. It's working for him again, and showing everybody what he can do and what everybody knows he can do.
The final team to talk about below the dotted line are the Gazelles.
Yeah, I were in the party of getting him up there, possibly challenging for winning for it. I think now they're starting to settle a bit. I definitely think he'll be in top 6 come the end of it. Again, I think it's been a common theme of, I just don't think his players up top are quite strong enough for what's behind them. So it's a case of relying on all the strength behind them and then nicking a few goals up top. But then again, when they're stuck 6 away, other game day, you can't fault it. So yeah, I definitely think he'll be up there. We will, Craig, without a shadow of a doubt.
We move into the top 6 now, and a team that you've clearly set your sights on, judging from some of your earlier comments. Sloths currently occupying the final playoff place, going into the halfway stage. Have you been impressed with what they've managed to put together so far?
Yeah, definitely. They've obviously brought some champ legends in, so to say. They've got a couple of players who haven't played yet, which I think are massive in terms of what they can do in game as well. I had them for being a lot further down league. I'm totally honest with that, with the squad that they had on paper, but Rob's got them playing extremely well. Whether they can go on keeping relying on David Collins for goals, I think it's going to be a tough ask, a really tough ask in my opinion. But I had a great season so far, for definite.
And what about Haggis, a team who, despite pretty much being up in the top 4 or 5 since the season started, a team that constantly comes under fire for being lucky or lack of performance, etc. What's your take on their season so far?
Yeah, I think lack of performance, I think it's definitely been a thing to say about them. But within that lack of performance, they've got results. So whereas I've been performing pretty well at times and not getting anything. They've not really been performing too well, but they've been getting wins. Once it does click, and once they get somebody up top scoring one every other game for them, and I think they're definitely rightly where they're going to be towards the end of the season. It's just how far they go. It'll depend on how they can turn performances from solid wins. A bit, in a sense, they've been a bit like Greavesy with how they've won. And if they can turn that into a couple of dominating performances, that's when you're going to really start seeing how good they can be.
Currently in fourth, but only one place off the summit, is your next opponent's Locomotive Boston. As you've said, they're quite miserly. It's difficult to create against them. They might not score a great deal, but are you concerned, given how compact and difficult they are to create against, given your lack of goals?
Yeah, well, definitely. That's going to be a big test of it. If I can create a lot of shots and not get any on target, I'll be disappointed with that. But that'll show that he's done his job and making them go from far out. If I end up getting a lot on target and still not getting a result, I'll be totally fuming, if I'm honest. So I think relying on that sort of tactic and we're not scoring so many goals itself, it's going to be, for me personally, a bit of a miss whether I can see that through a full season, in terms of relying on others not being able to play and trying to get something yourself and nicking it. I think it's a little bit of a dangerous way to play. It's working fantastic for him at the minute, but it's interesting to see whether it can last a season.
We now move into the top three, who all have the same amount of points and only separated by goal difference. Bostock Stanley currently sit third after their defeat to Leddersford. Another manager and team I know that you have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's proving he might not be knocking great numbers out, but Zidane is knocking better numbers out than we've seen. So he's fitting into that system quite well. I think he's right playing him in a MC as opposed to an AMC. I think he's getting his tactics really right at the minute. Obviously, he took a risk with his one at the back, which he said is obviously going in the bin. But at least he had a go of it. I know he had it in his head a couple of games prior, whether he was going to do it or not. But yeah, very, very workmanlike and always dangerous with obviously Vieri and Alan Smith. When you've got him firing as well, you've got plenty of options to obviously keep yourselves up there.
Then you've got the Devils, currently sat second. What's your take on it? Some people are saying that it's just because the squad is far superior to anyone else's, which obviously I'm going to say is unfair because all the squads were drafted equal, so all the squads should technically be more or less equal. But I know I've gone on record as saying how good a start I think we've made compared to normal. What have you made of it?
Yeah, and obviously I've seen firsthand now you're playing the game not just in Super League. So I think obviously on rewriting history, you had a good season with Ipswich. You started off this next season very, very well. So I certainly think you've got the players playing how you want them to play. I think you need a lot more credit rather than just saying just because you've got a better squad, etc. Than just having the better squad. Look at my squad, I can't get them going. So I think you deserve a lot more credit than maybe might be coming your way. But I certainly think you're going to be up there come end of the season. I think you're going to see it right through. I think you've got too much quality not to. And I think I'm one of the only ones that will support you in playing Barry Ferguson as a DMC with that Arrow, because it works. I've done that with him loads of times, so you certainly won't get no fire off me for that.
The final team before I ask you to pick your top six is Fulchester.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've got, in my opinion, some absolute cracking players, and when you've got Ryan Giggs playing like he is playing, which even on a home save against AI, I still don't think I've seen what he's doing at the minute, which I think is a big testament to Maka for getting that out of him, if I'm honest. Yeah, they've got a very good squad. As much as he plays it down, the more he plays it down, everybody else is going to play it up. I think his position in table is sort of proving now that it's becoming, boring's the wrong word, but it's becoming a bit, nobody's believing it anymore, because it's end of days where he took a lot weaker side last year into top 6 at the end of it, to having this squad he's got now, which, yeah, it's not the best squad on paper, but you don't always need the best squad on paper. It's what works with your formation and the players you've got playing. And I think he'll be there or thereabouts, and I think he'll be in final again this year.
Okay, a very bold and interesting prediction that. As I've done with everyone else, let me ask you in order who finishes in the top 6.
Well, Fulchester top. I think Scott will pip you to second. I think you'll finish third. I think Craig will go on a run and get up to 4th. I think Haggis will finish 5th. And then for 6th place, I know it's going to be hard to say this. If I get 4 points from my next 2 games, I'll be confident finishing 6th. I will. So, but I can't call 6th place at the minute. If I get firing between us, Boston and Wethersford, I can't split that at the minute. But
No, that's perfectly legitimate answer. I'm obviously delighted. I would snap your hand off for 3rd right now. We have a little bit of time left, so if you will, for anyone who's, I know over the Christmas period, some people have been playing their own home save, some have been looking out for some CM content, and we both mentioned it. Just give a little bit of the groundwork into the hashtag rewriting history and what exactly is going on, so that anyone who hasn't seen or heard of it yet through our social media can follow the hashtag and find out what's going on.
Yeah, well, obviously we said we were going to get stuck into a network save, despite loads of we're never going to get off at floor from Wooder, but he's done a great job as Duggan at getting it going and getting it running as smoothly as it is. We did try one beginning of lockdown where there were about 8 or 9 of us, me, Dimble, Boise, I think Mella were on there, and it was just a sham and it just never got going. I think the thing that I think massively took it apart was we drafted players, and we all took it in turns having picks. So everybody were available to everybody whenever they had a pick. So there were no, oh, I wish I'd have got him. You know, it's end of the day, it's what you've picked. So we've drafted players, we've had a couple of transfers, and we just got stuck in with bottom 5 that finished end of 01-02 season, and tried rewriting it. And luckily for me, we haven't rewrote it properly, because I think Sunderland were a bit higher up than bottom. So yeah, I'm chuffed with the way it's going so far for me personally, and obviously Dimble started out, hopefully all with Wob accusations can be thrown Dimble's way now instead of mine. And but no, I think you've had a fantastic start as well, and it's been massively. It's just been a good laugh, you know. Just no pressure of it. Just go on, get on. Everybody supporting each other. Nobody, arguing that they're going to give each other an hiding, this, that, and other. Everyone say good luck when you're playing us, or hard luck, or whenever you beat them. And I think it's been brilliant, and I'd advise anybody, if anybody can get on a network save with a couple of your friends or whatever, definitely do it.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Some fantastic work went into putting it together. As you say, you're Sunderland. You won the Premier League season 1 with what must be a record amount of points. I don't think you dropped any until you won the title. It was ridiculous. My Ipswich team went on a bit of a European adventure that ended in the quarterfinals, I think, to Olympiacos, but that included beating AC Milan on the way and teams I'd never heard of. We had some domestic cup runs by 1 or 2 of the teams as well, and now we're into season 2. Another transfer window's gone by, and is it 4 out of 5 of us are in Europe after where we finished last season? There was some complaints that I was taking the Intertoto too seriously, but I was adamant I wanted to get back in the UEFA Cup. And yeah, we're going again. But follow the hashtag rewriting history if you want to catch up with the story. It's not being streamed like some of the others, but likes of me, yourself, as you say, Duggan, Dimble, CM Rob, where we're all sort of putting tweets out with the hashtag so you can see what's going on at the different clubs. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I'm just glad that I was invited to take part, and I'm glad we got it going. But apart from that, Steve, I think we've covered everything that needs covering. Thank you very much for taking time out of your afternoon to talk to me. And I'm sure we will talk to each other again in the not too distant future.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Speak to you soon.
I think we're next doing Rewriting History on Wednesday, so I don't. What's the date today? What day is it today? It's Tuesday. No, that's fine. I won't wish you a Happy New Year yet, mate, because we'll be playing again tomorrow. See you later, pal.
See you later, mate.